Hello, hello, hello everyone, and welcome back to Fallout 76 for another round of Legendary Crafting. Today we're going to roll what seems to be the hottest commodity in the game right now, Enclave Plasma guns. We'll try our luck and talk about what makes each set of effects good, bad, or otherwise. If you like videos like this and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment, and follow me on Twitter. There's always a lot more to come. Now, without further ado, let's get to crafting. So to prepare for today's video, I stocked up on 6 Enclave Plasma guns. Now, I got these just by going to Modus in the Enclave bunker and just bought them directly there. They can also drop from the Dropped Connection event and possibly from some of the other Enclave events. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm pretty sure it's just the Dropped Connection events. And that's probably the best place to get them because you get different mods on them. But and really, ultimately, what you want is the Flamer mod. I have one that we have the Flamer mod already that somebody was nice enough to drop for me. You'll see that likely next week. But today we're going to start fresh. Let's see what we've got for our first 3-star roll. And this one is Bloodied with bashing damage and perception. Gotta love the bashing damage. So what do we have here? As for the primary effect being bloodied, you can't ask for much better than that. If you want to max out your damage on a weapon like this, that's going to be your probably your ideal roll. Sadly, our second and third stars aren't very good. Bashing damage is worthless on this weapon. It is completely useless in every way. Extra perception will help us with VATS accuracy, but if the ultimate goal is to use this as a flamer, without some maybe VATS critical related perks to kind of give us a better reason to use VATS with it, I'm not really sure how beneficial that is. So sadly, this is not an amazing roll. I like the fact that we got a bloodied one on the first roll, but yeah, the rest of it, not too great. We'll see what else we can get. This is why I grabbed a couple of them. So if we get one like this that's kind of pretty good, then instead of just re-rolling all the effects, we can put it aside and roll a new one so we don't have to destroy it and risk losing our pretty good one in the hopes of getting a really good one and potentially ending up with something terrible. Let's see what's next. And now we're going to do 3 stars again, and we've got an Aristocrats with VATS critical shots doing more damage, and hits have a chance to generate a stealth field. So this one is kind of interesting. Now, I did have someone, I was in the game just playing one morning, and a viewer, Mad Chicky Alfredo, stopped by and dropped me an Aristocrats with VATS critical hits doing more damage, and with it breaking 50% slower, and it already had the Flamer mod on it. So I've got a pretty good one that's very similar to this already put aside, but this one's kind of interesting too. One of the drawbacks to this weapon is that even though it has a flamer barrel on it that doesn't make a loud noise, it's still not a suppressed weapon. You can't sneak very easily with it. You can get some sneak criticals in, but it's definitely not a stealthy kind of weapon. So what I wonder here is if I use this with a chance to generate a stealth field on every hit with a flamer barrel, that's going to give me a lot of stealth fields. So I wonder if that will help me stay hidden or in caution and maybe get more sneak damage out of this, or it could just be kind of useless. I guess time will tell. Maybe eventually we'll get to test this one out. We'll have to see how much luck I have acquiring mods going forward. I think anybody who views the channel often knows I'm not a big fan of farming things. So lots of repetitive tasks over and over again I don't find fun. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll get lucky at some point in the future. But this one's kind of interesting. Not necessarily better than what I have, but so far 2 good solid rolls. Let's see what else we can do. And now we've got a new weapon, and this one is Suppressors with the last round in the magazine, has a 25% chance to deal double damage and 15% faster reload. So if you're going to put the flamer barrel on this or not, you know, if you want to play a support role, then maybe the suppressors effect can be useful for you. But I think most people going for this weapon, the ultimate goal is to get a flamer mod on this thing so that you can do what you want to do with it. and do a ton of damage with high DPS. That's really the selling point of this weapon, is that you can do that eventually. So that's very good. That's all wonderful, but it means that this one isn't very useful. So the suppressors mod, I guess it's okay, but it's not very good. You're just not going to get a lot of mileage out of that. Something that's going to do more damage or vampires that will heal you would be much more useful. Last round in a magazine that holds 300 rounds, which you get with the flamer, that is totally useless. You get a 1 in 4 chance that your 300th round deals double damage. Yeah, that ain't gonna cut it, sorry. And 15% faster reload. Everybody likes a faster reload, but you're not reloading it very often to begin with, and the reload's already pretty quick. So this one, I think we're just gonna re-roll. I don't really see any reason to hold on to this one. It's not very good. So let's just go ahead and re-roll these effects and see what we can get. This one is definitely an improvement. This is a major improvement. Okay, so here we've got vampires with 25% damage while aiming, the Hitman's effect, and faster movement speed while aiming. So that third star, faster movement speed while aiming, isn't really going to do anything for me. I've got the Speed Demon mutation, so once you have that, it really doesn't help you. You're already kind of maxing out your movement speed with that, so you won't. If it does anything, it's not noticeable. However, the rest of this is really good. So, Vampire's effect and damage while aiming. Great combination. So here, one thing that people like to do with these flamers is use VATS criticals with them because it's high DPS. You get a lot of VATS criticals. That's great. But you also have to get fairly close to your target, which in my brief experimentation with the one I have is the biggest challenge. So here, if I can run vampires, that means I can very comfortably run at low health. So I'll get health regeneration, which is just going to be basically constant with a weapon like this, and because it fires so fast when you have the flamer mod on it. So I'll get that. But then I can also get damage buffs from Adrenal Reaction and from Nerd Rage by staying at low health. So I'll get a lot of what I get from being bloodied while still getting the safety and security of vampires. And then on top of that, if I'm aiming down sights, which is easy enough to do with the Flamer mod, then you get 25% damage while aiming. So I get another little damage buff there from that. It's not going to be huge, but it's better than nothing. So this is a really solid roll. I'm definitely interested to see how well this one works. I'm going to have to start grinding out some of those Enclave events. All right, and it's time for our fifth roll here. This one's going to be on a pistol. And now we've got suppressors again with 25% damage while aiming and extra perception. So I didn't love suppressors the first time, and I don't love it this time either. Damage while aiming does give you a little bit of a damage buff there, so if for whatever reason you really wanted to run suppressors, maybe you're playing some kind of support character and you want to lower the damage output of bosses or something like that so your team can take them on, then this will at least give you a little bit of a damage buff while you're doing that. But ultimately, I just don't think it really works well. You got to get pretty close with this thing, and reducing damage by 25% is great, but the only way you're gonna really take advantage of this is probably if you're running low health. So, yeah, not in love with this one. Let's see if we can do better. And now we've got medics, replenishing action points with each kill, and 50 damage resistance while aiming. So this one is an interesting one to talk about, even though I don't think it's very good. So the medics effect is potentially useful if vampires is absolutely not an option. In this case, with your VATS criticals, that'll heal you and your group. If you're running the flamer barrel, you're gonna get a lot of VATS criticals if you're using it in VATS, just due to simple probability. You're pumping out lots of shots really, really fast. So you can get a ton of VATS criticals with it, and you can probably keep yourself pretty well healed with that. However, the second star, replenishing action points with each kill, it doesn't fill your AP back up completely. And one of the primary things people want these weapons for is big boss fights. So if you're going after Earl or the Scorch Beast Queen, then, you know, it's great that you're going to get some AP back after the kill, but it doesn't really help you while you're trying to make the kill. So that's not going to be super useful there. Extra damage resistance while aiming doesn't hurt, but realistically, you're going to use this in VATS. So you're not going to be aiming down sights. So you're really not going to get a lot of mileage out of that. So in this case, unless, again, you're just a dedicated support build, which is very rare in Fallout 76, I just don't really see this one being particularly useful. And we'll do another roll here in this one. Okay, so here we've got Assassins with AP refresh on each kill and 25% less VATS AP cost. So the second and third stars actually play pretty nicely together. Replenishing AP with each kill and less VATS AP cost. If you want to use this as kind of a general farming weapon, then that's really useful because you're going to bring down your VATS AP cost, which is important, especially if you're not running low health with unyielding armor where you don't have as much AP, then that definitely will help you out a lot. Replenishing AP with each kill in general farming is useful. Boss fights, it's not going to do a lot for you, but if you want to just run around killing enemies, farming for legendaries and XP, then that's pretty good. The Assassin's effect, unfortunately, 50% damage to humans. Humans are really squishy in this game already, and using a flamer barrel on this weapon against them is going to be very, very deadly, very, very quickly. So you don't really need it, and it's not doing anything for you against other types of enemies. So while this is interesting for its second and third stars, it's probably not good enough to keep around. Let's re-roll something and see what else we can get. Okay, we're going to re-roll the medics first, and there we got a pretty solid upgrade. So we went from medics to furious, with VATS critical hits doing 50% more damage and 250 damage resistance while reloading. So let's talk about the furious effect. On a lot of weapons, it doesn't do much for you because you're still killing things in maybe 2 or 3 shots, so you're not getting a lot of mileage out of that stacking damage with every shot. With a flamer barrel, especially if your target is boss enemies like Earl and the Scorchbeast Queen, you're going to get a lot of mileage out of that. You're going to go through, 5-10 shots super quick, so you'll be maxing out your furious damage very easily and very quickly with this weapon. So that's a good thing. For all intents and purposes, for those scenarios, it's going to be just as good as a Junkies or an Aristocrats or something like that would be, because you're going to max out at that 50% damage. VATS critical hits doing more damage is awesome. If you're going to use this in VATS, especially targeting weak points, that's going to give you a lot more damage because, again, you're going to get a lot of VATS critical shots with this. You've got 300 rounds in the magazine with a flamer barrel on it, and it goes really, really, really fast. So you'll have great success with that. Of course, we don't have a flamer mod on this one yet. Time will tell. Those things will have to come in time. We'll have to grind that stuff out, but that's the ultimate goal. And 250 damage resistance while reloading. If you've watched my videos like this before, you know I'm kind of okay with this effect. It's certainly not a bad thing to have if there's ever a time when you need extra damage resistance. It's when you're vulnerable, and the time you're most vulnerable is when you're reloading. So even though the returns are diminishing and you're not going to get a ton out of it, it's better than nothing. So that's not bad. That's not a bad set of effects. Let's try another one. Let's see if we can improve that suppressors and maybe a little. So here we've got Zealots, which is 50% damage to Scorched, limb damage, and 25% less VATS AP cost. So I don't love the situational effects. I still think that they are underpowered, that Bethesda was stingy with buffing them. Taking them from 30 to 50% is better than nothing. But considering how limited they are in scope, and that with the additive damage system, there's not that much difference between 30 and 50%, I question how valuable that really is. I think we should have gone to 100% there to make these really useful to keep around for specific tasks. Fortunately, with this weapon, one of those specific tasks is going to be fighting the Scorchbeast Queen. So having a Zealots model is not a bad thing. Extra limb damage is also not a bad thing. With the limb damage, that will help you cripple the Queen's limbs when she lands and keep her on the ground. So that's definitely helpful. And then 25% less VATS AP cost. That's also really helpful. So if you want to target the head, if you want to target weak points, go for VATS criticals, things like that, then you're going to have an easier time doing that because it's not going to gobble up all your VATS AP. So while this is not amazing, it's not the kind of roll I'm really going for, it's not bad. It could be a good weapon for that specific scenario. So maybe we'll re-roll one of the other ones and then consider whether I want to re-roll this one. I've got enough legendary modules for 2 more. Let's see what we can get. All right, let's see if we can improve that assassins, and wow, we did. Okay, so big improvement. Vampires with VATS critical shots doing more damage and faster movement speed while aiming. So we've got another Vampires Enclave Plasma gun here, and I really think Vampires is probably going to be my preferred effect on this. The whole idea here is to be able to get up close and personal and just dump firepower into whatever you're trying to kill. So the Vampires effect, I think, is going to be the most useful on this weapon. With that, the whole point of this, once you get that flamer barrel on there, is to be able to just get up close and personal and dump firepower into your enemies. So being able to keep yourself alive while you're doing that is going to be good. VATS critical shots doing more damage is also going to be really good. You can use concentrated fire, target the weak spots, dump those VATS criticals in there with the fast fire rate on this thing. And yeah, that's pretty solid. Faster movement speed while aiming. Again, if you have the speed demon mutation, it's kind of useless. But honestly, so are most of the 3rd stars, so I can't really cry too much about that. It's always good to try and at least take a chance to maybe get that 25% less VATS AP cost. That can make for a really powerful combo. So, I think my plan was to just roll 10, but I think I want to roll 1 more. We've got the legendary modules for it, and honestly, RNG has been pretty good, so I think I'm going to re-roll... that Zealots model. While it was interesting and potentially useful, I don't really see myself getting to it with so many other good ones, so let's re-roll the Zealots and see if we can improve it. And what do we get? Oh, that is an improvement. Okay, so... here we go from Zealots to Aristocrats, which is going to be an extra 50% damage if we're over 29,000 caps. That's not too hard to do. So that's a very, very solid primary effect. Then we also have 25% faster fire rate. Oh, faster fire rate is going to be really helpful, especially if you're using this as a boss killer. If you're going against Earl, if you're going against the Scorchbeast Queen, 25% faster fire rate basically just gives you a 25% DPS increase. And other weapons, you need to kind of factor in reload time and things like that to determine how useful it really is. But with this one, it has 300 rounds in the magazine. The reload is super fast, so that's not a problem at all. You're going to get a huge boost in DPS, and that's really the point of this weapon. When you switch to a flamer mod on this, it's not so much about per shot damage, it's about how quickly you melt things into plasma goo. And that's going to make them melt 25% faster. That's a very solid secondary roll. The 3rd star at 90% reduced weight, kind of a little bit of a who cares. Once you get mods on this, you're not going to get a whole lot of mileage out of that. And based on the stats I'm seeing there, I'm not sure it's even really registering much of anything. But for better or worse, it's there. If it saves us a little bit of weight, cool. But really, the showstoppers here are Aristocrats and 25% faster fire rate. That's definitely a huge improvement over the Zealots effect that we had before. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to bring us to the end of this one. So today's run was pretty good. We rolled a total of 11 legendary Enclave Plasma guns, and we left the day with 6 solid ones. 6 very interesting rolls. That's very, very good. And I think it really speaks to how much of an improvement over just relying on the purveyor the new legendary crafting system is. Imagine if you could only get legendary Enclave Plasmas from the purveyor. How many times would you visit? How many thousands of legendary script would you burn through to maybe get one, let alone a good one. And here we got 6 for the equivalent of just a little over 2,000 script worth of legendary modules. So we did really well here with these today. Now I'm going to have to spend some time grinding these Enclave events to try and get the mods for them. But that's okay. That's all part of the deal. And we definitely got some good ones today. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, as always, remember to subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. There's always a lot more to come on the channel. And I hope I see you all next time.